Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a series of videos about SolidWorks scripting using Python. And in this video, we are going to cover how to create a loft and a sweep. Let's begin. First, I'm going to create a part. And first, I'm going to cover how to create a loft. For that, I need two sketches. So I'm going to create the first one on top plan, for example, a simple rectangle. And for the second one, I'm going to create a new plan first. Okay. And on this new plan, I'm going to create a new circle like this. I'm going to exit the sketch and you can see my two new sketches. I'm going to use these two sketches to create a loft between them. For that, I'm going to open Visual Studio, run my libraries, and then connect SolidWorks to Python. Then I'm going to create a new block, and here I'm going to write the code to be able to create a loft in SolidWorks using API. For that, I need to first select these two sketches and then simply create a loft without a guiding curve. Okay, I'm going to write the code here and then explain it. Okay, to create a loft, it is very simple to code it. As you can see, I need first to select my two sketches. Be careful what argument you are using for mark. I'm using 1, so you need to use 1 here. And as you can see, I select my sketch 1 and sketch 2. Then I use this function to create a very simple loft. Let me search it for you in API help, and here under feature manager, or even here. As you can see, it gets a lot of arguments and you can read about them here. They are not very important because creating loft is very complicated when you want to create it using scripting. But if you want to create a loft, very simple loft for a project, it is possible to use scripting. Okay, let me rearrange my windows and run this block of code. Okay, run it. As you can see, it selects my two sketches and then create a loft here. Sometimes you need to create a loft with a guiding curve. So let me delete loft 1 and create a guiding curve for these two sketches. I'm going to select front plan, create a new sketch, and simply using art to connect these two sketches together. Oh, let me try again. And this one. Okay, I'm going to do this, add the relations for this point and this point and the second sketch. Okay, I'm going to exit, and now I have a guiding curve named sketch 3, or it is in sketch 3. So I'm going to back to Visual Studio and create a new block, and here I can write a code to create a loft with a guiding curve. I'm going to write the code here and then explain it. Okay, as you can see, these two block of codes are very similar. So in the first two lines, I select my sketch 1 and sketch 2. And in the third line, I'm going to select my guiding line. I need to bring up 2 points. As you can see, for marks, for these two I use 1, and for these I use 2. So you need to do the same to be able to create a loft with a guiding curve. And the last line create a loft for us. Let me rearrange my windows. I'm going to run this block of code. As you can see, it selects my sketches, my guiding curve, and at last create a very beautiful loft for us. Okay, I'm not going to cover how to edit a loft using Python scripting because there is not a lot of options to edit, and you just need to select your sketches or even your guiding curve and then create a loft like this. Okay, the next thing we are going to cover is, let me show you, is sweep. And first, let me delete my loft 1 or even all of these sketches and plan. Okay, I'm going to create a very simple sketch here. I'm going to use spline and create a spline like this. I'm going to exit the sketch. Creating a sweep is not like creating a extrude or revolve or even loft. So I'm going to use macro to show you what I mean. I'm going to start a macro. First, I'm going to select my sketch. Then I'm going to create a sweep, circular profile, and for the diameters, I'm going to choose 12, for example, and then OK. As you can see, my sweep is created now. I'm going to stop the macro, save it, and at last open it. You can see the code here we are going to use to create a sweep in SolidWorks. I'm going to copy these codes that are necessary and paste it in Visual Studio. Okay, let me edit it a little bit. We don't need themes. I'm going to delete them. Themes here. I'm going to delete set. Another one here. Okay. And we have another set here. Okay, as you can see, this code creates a sweep for us, and in the first line it's going to select our sketch, and as you can see, it uses mark 4 for this line. And then we have something called feature manager. I'm going to use this function, and at the end we have something called create definition. Let me first edit this line, python com.nothing. Okay, and let me search for create definition in API help. It is here. As you can see, it gets one argument, it is type, and let me show you, create a feature data object for the specific type. So when we want to create a sweep, we don't have like iSweep or iExtrude like these. So we need to use getDefinition. And as you can see, getDefinition has different arguments here. So we need to find sweep, and it is here. So let me see. The IDs are here. We are going to create a sweep. So let me search for it. Sweep. And it is here. Let me show you. And unfortunately, API help doesn't show us the integer value. So as you can see, we should use these arguments or these variable to be able to find the integer. In the video that I'm going to show it here, we talk about how to extract the integer value from this variable. So you can go and watch this video and find out how to find the integer value. So I did this, and the integer value is equal to 17. So I'm going to use 17. Okay. As you can see, after get definition, we need to define all of these functions to be able to create a sweep, but it is not necessary. What I mean is this: when you want to create a sweep manually, you just need to select circular profile and then define the diameters. So you can do this when you are scripting it. So for that, I'm going to delete all of these codes except these two lines. These two lines are necessary to create a sweep. The first one, circular profile, specify that we are going to use circular profile, not a sketch profile. And the second one is the diameter we are going to use. For example, I chose 12 millimeters, as you can see. And just using this block, we are able to create a sweep, or in the specific term, circular profile sweep. Okay, let me delete this sweep first, rearrange my windows, and run this block of code. As you can see, it first selected and then simply create a sweep for us, and the diameter is 12 millimeters as we specify it for it here. After creating a circular profile sweep, it is necessary to know how to edit it. For example, in different project or in a project, I need to justify these diameters for different purposes. First, it is 12 millimeters, and then I want it to be 20 millimeters. So I need to be able to change these diameters. I'm going to write a code here to show you how to edit diameters in circular profile sweep and then explain it. Okay, this block is very similar to editing extrude, revolve, or other features. And for that, I'm going to explain it very fast. In these lines, we are going to use section manager. Then I'm going to select my sweep. Its name is sweep 3, as you can see here. So I'm going to use sweep 3. Get selected object 5. I'm going to use this function and get definition. And at last, I'm going to use access selection function to have access to my selection, which is sweep 3 here. The reason I am explaining how to edit a sweep is for this function. As we saw in API help, like here for create definition, we don't have a direct function to create a sweep, and we need to use get definition function. For example, for extrude, we had something called feature extrusion, but we don't have it for example here. We don't have feature sweep function here. So what should we do? I'm going to show you how to extract this function on the sweep feature or feature sweep, and you just need to search sweep feature data interface, for example, and you can see here iSweep feature data members. This is the part or the section we opened in the previous videos to be able to use all of these functions. So if you are going to use get definition function and the feature you are going to use doesn't have a direct function, you can simply use these methods. So we have something here called circular profile diameters, and you can use this to get and set circular profile diameters. So I use this function, as you can see it here. I use this function to be able to get the circular profile diameters, and then here in this line I use it to set the diameters. For that I'm going to add 5 millimeters to the previous diameters, and at the end we have modify definition and release a selection access and edit rebuild tree. I'm going to rearrange my windows and run this block of code. It first select my sweep tree and modify its parameters, and at the end use edit rebuild or rebuild my document. As you can see, my diameter is now 17 instead of 12. So now we are able to create a sweep here from scratch and then edit it. At the last, I'm going to cover how to create a sweep with a sketch profile. And for that, let me first delete this sweep tree and create a new reference here. I'm going to select these 2 points and line to my plan be vertical to this spline. I'm going to create a sketch in this plan or my new plan, and simply I'm going to create a rectangle here. Let me see. Let me resize it a little bit and use a constraint for these 2 points. I'm going to exit the sketch. Okay. And I'm going to write a code here to create a sweep with a sketch profile. Okay, this block is very similar to this block, and I didn't use even these 2 lines because in default when you want to create a sweep with a sketch profile, you just need to select your path and your profile. So in these 2 lines I select my path and profile, and I use create definition 17 to create a definition or create a sweep, and at the end I create a feature. Let me rearrange my windows, and I'm going to run this block of code. As you can see, now I'm able to create a sweep with a sketch profile. Okay guys, this is the end of the video. In this video, we talked about how to create a loft, how to create a loft with a guiding curve, how to create a sweep with a circular profile like this, and how to edit it in this block. And at the end, we talked about how to create a sweep with a sketch profile, as you can see in this block. See you guys in the next videos, and goodbye.